This episode of Nuff Said is brought to you by Tweaked Audio. To get awesome headphones, go to tweakedaudio.com and use the coupon code Southgate to get 30% off, free shipping, and a lifetime warranty. Or you can get there through the link on our website, southgatemediagroup.com.
The recording has started. Hello and welcome once again to Superconnectivity, my friends! I'm your host, Charlie the Professor Esser, and with me as always is the blue-eyed bomber of the Burger Pits,
Phil, Philmy, and Perich.
Welcome back, Philip. So glad you're here. Oh, what to discuss this week? Well, you know, let's talk Mrs. Doom. Because we did get a reveal this week of who will Dr. Doom marry? Is it Sue Storm? Is it an aged-up Valeria Richards? Is it some blonde?
No.
It was Victorious.
Yeah, who Slot just had there since day one, yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It's interesting just because, like, in the last Doom book, there's like this whole thing about so Victorious's mom was a Syncarian, and honestly, the whole other side of the river racism that's going on between Latveria and Syncaria is like just nuts. It is real of European states in like the Middle Ages. But it is a little weird in this day and age, you know, although obviously if you look at, the Serbian-Croat War, it's very much the exact same idea of, oh, you are from that side of the river. That's why we hate you, other side of the river people. And, so she's technically Syncarian, but now she's going to be the bride of, Doom. Which is, again, it does not seem like a relationship that's built on strong foundations. That's what I'm going to say. He did just have Victorious kill her own mother, and yeah. It makes sense here's what I'll say. It makes sense story-wise. It's not like this is like, oh yeah, who are Tony's real parents? Two people you've never met. Yes, it would have been made more sense for him to be Franklin Richards' child, but nope. Sorry, Nathaniel Richards' child, or Franklin Richards' child. He's a time traveler, who knows? Oh, but no, so at least this makes sense that he's marrying Victorious. But it's not the kind of thing that just seems like it's going to, in any way, change any aspect of the story. Except that obviously he's like, making a truce with the Richards in this storyline, because they obviously all show up for the wedding, and so that's good, I guess.
Or she needs a green card, something, I don't know.
A green card to where?
I don't know. Nah,
they're Latvians, Philip.
Yeah. But no, I mean, again, it's kind of like, yeah, really, doesn't matter, but it's like, I guess it kind of makes sense. Doom would marry someone who worships him. Yeah, except I don't know if she's... That's what's weird, is I actually get the feeling she's, like, kind of not into Doom anymore. And that's why I get the feeling like, oh, they're like, she's going to, like, try to kill Doom at some point. Which is like, okay, that's cool, but you do know he put, like, an off switch on you. Because he's Doom. And he does stuff like that, Yeah.
It's not like Doom like, oh, I will give you this power free and clear, and I'm sure you will never betray me, right? The minute Doom does anything, he's immediately trying to figure out, now how can I betray this person?
Well, no, it's always like, what's in it for me?
Doom is just... See, after the last Doom book, I'm pretty much over Doom. Doom is almost like my Joker now. He is like Marvel's Joker. Just so pathetic and just so... This is why I say, Curtis Armstrong is the only person who should play Dr. Doom. Curtis Armstrong would be so perfect because he can be that venial, petty Dan versus, because that's essentially, Dan versus is just, what if Dr. Doom had no powers?
No.
That is Dan versus, which is a great cartoon series if you ever get the chance to watch it. It's on Tubi. But Dan versus some of Curtis Armstrong's best work, just totally turning into the supervillain curve. And if you like supervillains, Dan versus is a great supervillain adult animation cartoon. So,
well, I mean, that just seems to be the thing of modern comics. It's like if villains get too popular, they either I don't know, either try to turn them into heroes, or they just give them their own books or whatever. It's just like, sometimes a villain's just a good villain because of who they oppose. Yeah. By
the way, speaking of, can we talk about Boomerang for a minute here?
Okay.
And what is that? Was that Spectacular Spider-Man or Amazing Spider-Man?
Amazing Spider-Man, yeah.
Okay, because this all came out of left field, the whole new suit, and first off, Spider-Man, new suit, really?
Well, that's what me and Lilith were talking about last night. It's like, this is the whole stuff with, Jameson's, like, his company where he's doing his podcast and everything, and it's like, we really... we kind of put all this on hold, even the Boomerang stuff, once we got all that Kindred stuff. So it's like, we haven't seen this stuff for like 20 issues. That's what I said. It's like, modern comics, they don't know how to like pace the stuff so you get like your supporting cast every issue. It's,
Yeah, and it's not like anyone was making them do Kindred. It's not like King in Black where, okay, we've got to do a whole King in Black story now. It's like, no, that was just their entire thing, and they just abandoned their previous thread to do another thread.
Yeah.
For reasons. Okay.
And I mean, remember, there was like a month or two there towards the end of the last year, they had like those, Amazing Spider-Man 52.1 and, whatever those were. It's like, so you had an extra book for like a month or two. You could have did, more.
So, but anyway, because I wasn't reading Spider-Man at the time. So why is everyone mad at Boomerang?
Well, I guess he like kind of double crosses most of the criminals, but now I think he knows where like the Tablet of Life or whatever it is, where the Kingpin one. So now it's now he's
doing Tablets of Life again.
I know. I don't know.
Wasn't that Silvermane's gig? I don't know.
It was back in the day, but I just wonder if Kingpin's gonna like try to resurrect somebody, or I don't know, but. Well, so you saw that where he offered all the crime lords. He's like, "Here's a get out of jail free card. Whoever brings me the Tablet of Life gets this."
And can I just say how useless that card is?
Well, he's like, under my administration, none of you will be arrested or convicted or
by local cops.
I know,
which means first off, New York State Police, FBI, ATF. There are so many law enforcement divisions that can totally arrest you. Like, honestly, the idea that, we might get arrested by the New York City cops, I don't think that's what, like, high-end mobsters worry about.
Unless Kingpin's like, these guys are stupid, I can just lie to them and say they're not going to get arrested and they'll bring me what I want.
To be fair, he's not wrong.
Exactly.
One of these is Hammerhead, and another one is the Owl. So...
Yeah, it wasn't Tombstone there too. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's probably just lying to them, be like, "Oh yeah, you won't get arrested." Wink.
Well, I mean, it's like, well, you get the get out of jail free card, and it's like, I like that it's Iron Man on it. Which, yes, Iron Man should be in jail.
Oh yeah, and then whoever wins it gives it to the cops. Next time they're arrested, oh yeah, see, I get out of jail free card. We ain't playing Monopoly, pal. Get in the car.
Well, I mean, obviously you have to call up the chain, But again, it's also like it's for his henchmen, so they have to call in the chit. It's kind of weird the whole way it's structured. But anyway, we'll go along with it because obviously, obviously he thinks these people are stupid, and he's not wrong. And then the Boomerang Revenge Society, which is a weird thing. I don't know what that's about. And, but the whole idea of both the idea that, it's journalism, but also it's a AR experience. And they're turning Spider-Man into Booster Gold.
Yeah.
Against his will, which is fun, I guess, in its own way.
I mean, it could be fun. I just hope they don't drag it out too long. Like I told Lilith, 2-3 issues, and it's like, let's move on.
Well, here's my biggest thing is like you have Jameson in charge of the science, and I'm thinking,
Yeah, because all of his Spider Slayers, those worked out great. Especially the one where he put his face on it. You know?
Oh, yes, he's the man in the chair, yes.
Yes. I mean, I guess it's a fun idea. It's a fun concept. It does feel like, I feel like even though we haven't been here before, I feel like we have. And it does feel like this is... It feels very Zack Snyder Superman-y, where it just doesn't feel like this is something Spider-Man should do. This is something Hawkeye would do. It's like... but I also, maybe Peter's like, you know what, F it. I'm really tired, and I just want to not be eating ramen every week. And I don't know what the deal is with the GOG. They have this...
Oh, yeah.
It's cute. And I guess, we got a lot of followers on Instagram,
It's like
because social media pays, right, Rob?
It's like this alien creature. Yeah, they kind of took it in as a pet, yeah. I mean, Spider-Man's had encounters with, I think the first time he ran into it, Kraven the Hunter had it locked up, or, And
I get the idea, and I guess, unusual, like I said, they said he could be the next Lockheed, which makes me wonder, is like Kitty Pryde cashing checks based on Lockheed Instagram posts?
Where is Lockheed? I haven't seen Lockheed in a while.
Well, maybe Lockheed has his own agent now. Maybe Lockheed was like, Kitty, I love you, but you're kind of holding me back.
His own story.
And Lockheed has his own own gram now.
His own Disney Plus show.
Lockheed's on the TikTok with Lilith.
Oh, coming soon to Disney Plus.
Honestly, it would not surprise me. But yeah, so that was interesting. I enjoyed that. But actually, what I'm really interested in right now is a book called Heroes Reborn.
Oh, yes.
And this is like the first time ever I am getting all of the issues of Heroes Reborn. All the one-shots and the main book.
Really?
Well, because you know what? I realized I wanted all of the main books except for the mutant book. And I said, well, I'll get the mutant book too. And so, because I did want to get the young Hyperion, the Superboy, and the Squadron, whatever. Mm-hmm. And I did want to get, I absolutely, obviously wanted to get the Peter Parker, the Spectacular Shutterbug, and without a doubt, the Siege Society.
Oh yeah, with Zemo, yes.
Yeah, it's like, wow, I love all these concepts. And I do want to see what they're doing with the Heroes Reborn. So it's like, yeah, I got them all. And that's like the first time I've ever done that. It's like years before because I always, like, that was like my big thing that always bugged me about, like, in this episode, a great tie-in to Secret Wars 2. And it's like, oh, look, here's the Beyonder.
On the last 2 pages. Yeah, I know.
Peter, how do I poop? It's like, Beyonder, you have to understand everybody poops. And
I can turn a building to gold.
Yep.
Oh, okay. I got the list. All right. Yeah, it's Heroes Reborn 1 through 7. Heroes Reborn Hyperion and the Imperial Guard. Heroes Reborn Peter Parker the Amazing Shutterbug. Heroes Reborn Magneto and the Mutant Force.
Yeah, that was the one I was a little soft on.
Heroes Reborn.
Though it does have 80s Storm in it. So.
Yeah. Heroes Reborn Young Squadron. I think that's like with the Miles Morales.
Yes.
And yeah, it's basically the champions. Yeah. Heroes Reborn Siege Society. That's the Zemo one. Mm-hmm. Heroes Reborn Squadron Savage.
Oh, did I miss that one?
I don't know. But then I was like, what is that? But then there's Heroes Reborn Weapon X and Final Flight.
Oh, wow. I mean, these weren't even in the preview.
I know. And that's this is towards the end. So Heroes Reborn Double Action, and then there's a Heroes Return #1, which I guess maybe when they set everything right.
Okay, so that must have been... Okay, that's weird.
Yeah.
So obviously you're saying, yeah, give me all of them. It kind of got me to that...
It has to be, at least a 2-month event, because there's 7 issues of the main series, and I mean, even if you do 1 a week, that's 7 weeks right there.
Well, I got them now.
Yeah.
So... I did by the end of it. Just put me on for all of them. They said, "Yeah, that would have been much easier." It's like because I didn't want to say I got all of them, but obviously they tricked me because they had extra ones that weren't in the preview book I was looking at, and so that's how they got me. That's how they get you, Philip. Anyway, but I'm excited about Heroes Reborn just because it is some weird Mephisto weirdness going on, and it's got a name of something I liked, and. Because I do like alternate universe interpretations of things,
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I'm excited about it. I don't know why, but I am convinced it's going to be fun. And the more people hate it, the more I will love it. That's all I have to say. Because that's inevitably the way it works with me.
Oh, yeah.
Anyway,
I'm seeing more here too. Heroes Reborn, American Knights #1.
Oh boy.
Is this the one where I think this might be the issue. I saw there was one where Luke Cage is a cop in this world. Yeah.
Well, I mean, you know, I get the feeling that maybe like this is going to be one of those situations. This is going to be like a House of M situation where every book Marvel puts out those 2 months is going to be. So I think I just accidentally bought the entire Marvel line. Well played, Marvel. Well played.
Oh yeah, and then Heroes Reborn, Night Gwen #1 with Gwen Stacy as Nighthawk's sidekick. Yeah.
Oh yes, that one I knew I did get because that intrigued me. Because love me some Nighthawk. I can tolerate Gwen Stacy in small doses. So, so that's
Squadron Savage must be like the Savage Avengers, maybe, because I'm seeing Elektra. Looks like Frank Castle. Somebody.
I wonder what Frank Castle is in a Squadron Supreme universe.
I don't know. Oh, Cloak. Cloak might be in here. Looks like maybe from Cloak and Dagger.
Oh, I do love Cloak.
Is that Crossbones with them?
I don't like Crossbones. He's a Nazi.
Well,
no Nazis, please.
I mean, it's just the costume. So I mean, it could be anybody, but it looks like a woman made out of. Looks like Swarm, but maybe a woman. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's another Nazi.
Elektra leads a team of the world's deadliest heroes and villains.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, here we go. Elektra, the Punisher, Crossbones, Cloak, and the enigmatic Murder Hornet.
Oh, yes. Okay. Maybe I did see that. Because I do remember reading something about the Murder Hornet. So, yeah. Okay. I mean, you know, it is what it's going to be.
Okay. And then looks like Weapon X in Final Flight looks like kind of like the Alpha Flight of this universe, but led by Wolverine, maybe.
I can work with it. So, anyway, I'm looking forward to it just because I do want to see what happens. I like when there is that idea of the entire universe just got restructured for a couple of months, and they do a company-wide thing with it. And to me, those are more interesting than just, alien invades, you know? Which is, you know, one of the things we got there in the Daredevil book this week is like Wilson Fisk being mad about, you know, no matter what I do, this is, I'm in a universe that there's nothing I can do about these things that are bigger than me. And like, I can solve the city, you know, but I can't really fight billionaires and I can't really stop alien invasions.
I mean, they could use this as the impetus, like you said before, he gets some scientist to give him superpowers or something.
Yeah, but does that work for... Well, I mean, honestly, from that last scene in Daredevil...
I mean, just do strength augmentation. It's in the universe. Get the power broker.
Yeah, well, I mean, obviously he's already been doing that. That's the thing. Yeah. I think he's been doing, like, very... I think he's been cautious, but I think he's obviously been doing that given the stuff we've seen him survive. But, interestingly enough, there is a thing in the last bit of that Daredevil where Wesley comes to him and, says, we have him, but he's in pretty bad condition. And he says, I don't care. I need him, yada, yada. And then we get the whole thing about Matt Murdock saying he's just been poisoned, which is like, why didn't he smell that before he ate it? Or taste it as soon as it went in. So it's odorless and tasteless, but now he knows he's been poisoned. So that's interesting. But I was actually thinking probably maybe he's going to try and give himself the powers of the century. Because that's like about the person they have who's pretty worse for wear, which we did see at the end of the Thunderbolts was the one thing that Sentry was in the picture taped together. So maybe he's going to try and give himself some Sentry powers. I don't know.
Unless Heroes Reborn resurrects him or something.
Yeah, we'll have to see what happens with all of that.
Because like all these reality-altering things, I mean, look at House of M. Hawkeye was like vaporized, and he basically just came back after House of M.
But I like that he knew he had been brought back.
Yes.
I like that. It's like, I like when they have the people who, were dead and come back and say, like, yeah, I remember dying. That kind of sucked. Which, actually, now, of course, Vision does remember in WandaVision. So, so much is going on right now, Philip.
Oh, that's the other thing. Like, I think it was like 2 weeks back, whenever that last Wolverine book came out, I think there was another clue that they're like plant clones or whatever. Because, like, Wolverine's been saying again, like, he remembers some of his past, but he doesn't remember some of it. I'm like, doesn't he remember everything after House of M?
Yeah. Well, unless, of course, that's not conducive to the plan.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, oh, yeah, we need to remove that because that's where he stumbled upon our secret plan all along,
Oh, yeah, Xavier messing with his head.
Well, because that's the thing. That is the thing. Is like I think every time everyone always wants to look for that surface person manipulator. I think sometimes this is my theory for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's never the person who's manipulating things. It's always the Rock. It's the Mind Stone that's been controlling everything from Avengers on. The Mind Stone has just been manipulating everyone and everything. And in WandaVision, I think it's pretty clear the Darkhold is influencing everyone. And I get the feeling there is this idea that they're going to build towards, which is this idea that there are these competing cosmic forces, and essentially going to be effectively the forces of life and death. Mm-hmm. Because one of the things, this was something someone had pointed out to me, was that Chthon, the god of magic, was driven off of the earth by Gaia, the force of life. And we do see when Agatha is attacking Wanda, behind her is a billboard that says, "We use the power of Mother Nature to drive out stains," or something like that. And the idea is that, maybe there are more people manipulating things than we see.
Watch your weight deep dives. We didn't pay off this last.
Well, no. But the thing is that Chthon is the thing.
Well, I was going to say
this is the thing about Chthon. I think Chthon's the easier sell than Mephisto.
Yeah.
I think Mephisto was always going to be a hard sell because Mephisto is the devil.
Yeah.
And implies an inherently moralistic universe. And I think that is a misunderstanding of things as far as what we can get away with in the Chinese market. And generally speaking, beyond the Chinese market, just the modern entertainment market in general. I don't think people are looking for, I'm the devil, blah, blah, blah. They don't want that.
It's not it's not original.
Well,
we've got how many versions of the devil and how many movies over the years. It's like,
and let me put it this way: if the best versions of the devil are always fanfic devil, where it's like, oh, I'm actually a misunderstood nice guy, but I like to punish evildoers, or something like that. That tells you that it's not going to be a good antagonist, and it's not going to be a good protagonist either, because he's still the devil.
Well, it's either that or I want souls.
Oh, yeah, souls. Jeez. We don't need capitalistic. We don't need a capitalistic devil.
But
gotta get the souls in.
Didn't Wanda tell Vision wasn't the Mind Stone part of her or her powers? So when Thanos blew up those stones, what if the energy? That energy had to go somewhere. So what if the Mind Stone infused her? So now is it going to be a hunt for who has the just like in the comics, who has the mind the Infinity Stones infused in them?
Well, I think the actual idea is just not even that the essentially Thanos blowing up the Mind Stones is like saying, "And now I have destroyed gravity! Ha ha! Gravity ceases to exist because I blew up the Gravity Stone."
Well, no, I think it's more like, oh, hey, you blow up a dam and you say, oh, I blew up this river. Well, no, you just diverted it. You sent it elsewhere.
Yeah. Well, the idea is that basically, and this is a thing to borrow from DC for a moment.
Oh, boy.
The idea that Darkseid isn't Darkseid. Darkseid is like the physical manifestation of Darkseid on this dimensional plane, but that actually Darkseid exists on some other plane.
of existence.
There may be multiple. Yeah.
So I don't know. I only basically everything I know about Darkseid I learned from Death Battle. So I don't know, but you get this idea that basically from what I understand is like the Infinity Stones are just they represent these forces, but what if they are not actually the forces themselves, but just sort of a stone that exists that can be touched by the temporal transitory beings within this universe, and that these forces essentially are, like eternity itself, are beings with minds and existences that are driving their stories. It's like I said, there's always this idea that, it is always telling to me that from the first Avenger, we get the weird thing that when the Red Skull gets the Tesseract, it works just fine. But whenever anyone else gets it, but after that, the Tesseract doesn't work until the Tesseract wants to work. That the Tesseract decides when it's going to be awake and when it's going to be not. And I think we see the same thing in Guardians of the Galaxy, and this is where I think that if there is a thread, that is the thread of the Infinity Stones, is that they are more than happy to do things for sentience for a while. But if they get bored, because clearly that world that Star-Lord goes to has since died, looks very similar to the world that Thanos' Titan, that it basically it thrived when it had an Infinity Stone that provided power to their planet, and then when the Infinity Stone decided it didn't want to do that anymore, that planet quickly died, but the stone stayed there. I get the feeling that is this idea that these stones decide what they want to do, and the stones do want to come together. And so the real question in all of this is, what are the stones going to do next? What are the other beings going to do next? And what is the Darkhold's game plan? Because, as I say, the Darkhold, as we've seen in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., and as we also see here, it is a book that tells you what it wants you to know. Because what the book's purpose is to bring Chthon to this plane. The same way the Serpent Crown brings Set to this plane. To return to this plane after Gaia has driven it off, or as through the forces of life in this universe have driven it off, which might be the Infinity Stones themselves. When Chthon returns, it is because he is looking for a being of power to open the door, and it is looking for someone that can be manipulated in that way. When you look at Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., it is creating the framework and creating the LMDs, the things that can replace humanity, the things that Gaia created. So if you create a robot version, maybe Gaia has no power over them, and then they can use their energies to bring Chthon in. Or in this case, manipulating Agnes to find Wanda to unleash the Scarlet Witch to allow that chaos energy to flow through and bring Chthon back into the world. But that's my theory. What's yours? Anyway, want to talk a couple of comics, Phil?
Sure.
Let's talk Immortal Hulk, because I know it's one you read.
Oh, yeah. Number 44, man. Yes.
Speaking of villains turned heroes, I'm always waiting for the UFOs to have some kind of redemption arc. And I know they never are going to have it. Vapor is always going to be just the worst human being. And Vector, I'll be honest with you, my real big thing is I really want Ironclad to just one day say, you know what, I don't really want to be a supervillain. No. I actually used to like to fly. I don't mind being a supervillain like everyone else. It's like, well, that's a lot of life. But, mostly I like punching people. And I could punch bad guys, too, if someone would tell me to punch a bad guy. It's Ulrich that, wants to, be the Lex Luthor, and, Vapor, his girlfriend, and Jimmy, he's just a freaking nut.
They know what they need. They need a new team, almost like a Thunderbolts, but it's like villains actually trying to reform, and you get like Ironclad on it. You know who leads the team?
Who?
Crusher Creel.
Oh, that'd be cool. Oh, they would always be sparring off, though. because, you know, they're both big bald guys.
Well, that's when Titania gets in the middle and says, "Quiet down, you two."
Oh man, the love triangle between Ironclad. Because you know Crusher's going to get jealous real fast.
Oh yeah.
But of course, you know, my theory is that Crusher, he reflects the people around him. So you put him with a bunch of villains, he's only going to get more villainous.
Oh, that's your human interest, man. Him trying to fight those darker impulses he's getting bombarded with.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, you know. But I love Ironclad because I love that his power is literally just to become more massive. I mean, when your power is, I will become bigger and fatter, it's obviously that's going to speak to me as a superpower. You know, I like the stuff with Samson Squatch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and I still don't know. I don't know what I'm going to do with the thing below all and the leader. I mean that stuff. It's like, wow, that again, like Mephisto, kind of the least interesting.
I mean, is it where they're going to have to unplug the leader from all this? You know.
Well, here's what I'm going to say: is the entire idea of I am the thing that's evil. It's so well defined and so uninteresting. You know, that's the thing. It's uninteresting. Like, you know.
Well, that's the other thing too. I think wasn't the leader dead? I mean, was this if nothing else, was this just them like resurrecting the leader?
Well, because that's the leader in Rick Jones's body, right? It's like that.
He was, but now wasn't he down in the lower place or whatever?
No, I think that's like the leader's body being manipulated by the thing below all that now has the Banner body or the, you know.
I thought he was using Rick's body, but now Rick's just stuck in this. I thought it was Rick stuck in this deformed body or something.
I mean, I don't even know, or maybe they're both there and they're actually both technically. They didn't have the ability to go back and forth between life and death as much as they thought, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's weird. But like I said, I mean, as an issue overall, it's great. It's just when they get back to HE Devil Hockey Sticks, it's not as interesting. Because it's like, it was cool for a while.
Yeah.
But, you know, the problem with stuff like that is you either have to have a denouement and leave it.
Well, he gave you the Roxxon stuff. You didn't like that.
Well, I mean, I didn't mind the Roxxon stuff. I mean, you know, it wasn't that bad.
But again, too, it's modern comics. I mean, we never wrap stuff up in 6 issues. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I guess, you know, my biggest thing with that is the Hulk mask stuff, and it's like, well, gee, you know, the Yancey Street gang did that, like, you know, in, what was it, Allred's Fantastic Four, you know, or Future Foundation, or something, one of the other groups, you know, where it's like, yeah, the Yancey Street gang are all hackers and they wore Ben Grimm masks. It's like, well, I've already seen that gag, you know? It's a little weird there. I don't know. Do you have a comic you want to talk about, Phil?
I was going to say, I wanted to talk that. We already talked Daredevil. We talked Spider-Man.
Well, if you have something more to say, we can say it. I did not read Nonstop Spider-Man. I'll be honest with you, I tried to. Yeah. But it was very nonstop.
I mean, yeah, I know. Lilith and I had a little problem with that. Like I said, I didn't have a problem with the art, but I don't think the artist was the right pick for Nonstop Spider-Man.
Oh, well, I mean, maybe, that could have been it. I just felt
that
like
was part of it, I think, yeah.
I kind of like the whole falling out of the window and
jumping around. They jumped around too much. It was like, flashback here. We're racing around here. Flashback is. It broke up the momentum. Yeah, it was kind of weird. Okay,
let me just say, it's a hard book to read when you're drinking a lot of apple juice. So,
did you read the backup story?
I don't think I got to it.
Okay, because it's not really Spider-Man centric because No, I mean, basically it's some Hydra guys sitting around having like a board meeting, and guess who breaks it up with saying, oh, this isn't Hydra. You guys have forgotten what Hydra is? Zemo.
Oh, Baron Zemo.
Yeah, so I don't know if Spider-Man's going to be fighting Zemo because, somebody's showing up on Disney Plus soon, but...
Yeah, well, why not?
Looking all classic cool. Zemo.
The kids today, they love the Zemo.
Because he's...
They're not a Nazi, Zemo. Just a fascist. I'm not a Nazi. I'm just a fascist.
But I mean, yeah, he's like cutting off their heads. He's like, yeah, Hydra's been losing and growing heads since 1945. By this point, we're top heavy.
That's a good line. It's a good line.
Oh, yeah.
Not going to deny it. Yeah. Okay. So that was that.
But yeah, I mean, he leaves some survivors. Wait, or does he kill them? Oh yeah, he kills them. But he's like, what? He's like, come on, guys. What is Hydra's true purpose? One's like world domination through economic and political infiltration. Another one, supremacy of the Aryan race. And the third one's like, I thought we were waiting for the return of an Inhuman banished by the Kree.
Yeah,
and even
it's one of those things.
Zemo literally just says, wow, I can't even with this. It just like shoots them.
Well, I mean, what are the Hydra anyway? Honestly, it's just.
So I mean, it looks like Zemo's cleaning house on some of these Hydra splinter cells that have just grown out of control. And then at the end, he mentioned something about New York having like hardier stock or something. So yeah, I'm assuming he's gonna run into Spider-Man.
Okay, well that'll be fine. Hey, Hydra, spiders.
Nothing says non-stop like Nazis.
We're all sisters, you and I. It's yeah. I mean, okay. I mean, I'm not opposed to the idea. I was only interested in it because the cover, they had the no cover variant at my store.
Oh yeah.
Which, I don't know if you got it or not. But that was an interesting gimmick. But I kind of felt like, oh, it's a gimmick.
No, I just got the regular one.
You got the regular one, yeah. It's
Well, that's like
bring back Otto.
Well, that's what we said. That's what me and Lil were saying. It's like it was like the week of the variant covers because even this Amazing Spider-Man, since that new costume shown up, there was a couple variants for this one too. So.
And am I wrong? Did that one start out with Kindred for some reason?
Well, I think they flashed the image up, but Peter's thinking, "Oh yeah, I've been so down in the dumps because of Kindred. I forgot how much fun it is, beating up on regular criminals." Because he was, I don't know if was he breaking up like a bank robbery or something.
Oh well. Before I get to my final book, I do want to talk about Conan the Barbarian again this week. I mean, it's a good book. If you like to read comics, it's a good book for reading because it's mostly just Conan, being. I realize, this is something I realized, have gun will travel. It's kind of the Western version of Conan the Barbarian. Or at least Conan the Barbarian is kind of the Hyborian Age version of Have Gun Will Travel. It's this really capable guy, but he does get himself into straits, and they don't short sell the straits. So, throughout this, Conan is, trapped by the bad guys. And he actually is he's accepting of the fact that I will probably die at the end of this if things don't change. But of course they do because they get attacked by gorillas, as you do. Mm-hmm. And in the gorilla attack, he is able to kill some gorillas, but he also kills some of the guards. And there's a scholar who's like, I just want to know your stories because I write things down. And, yeah, I mean, it's a good story. It's a really enjoyable read. It's hard to describe because there's not one thing where it's oh yeah, and then he does this, and you go wow, that's so cool. But it's wow, it was a really fun and exciting read. Watching the play between the idea of both the fights that do happen, and there are some really great fights in it, but also just the philosophical discussion that happens in between the fights. It's actually pretty cool, And also, it's neat seeing Conan be at the disadvantage and just taking his lumps. That's a neat look. I don't think it's a look we get very often in comics, especially the idea that they will be in this spot for most of the issue, and then when they get out of that spot, their actual impetus is, well, I need to leave. I'm not going to be stupid and just say, now I must have revenge. It's okay, I have gotten out of this strait. This was a bad idea. Let me leave now. I did what I wanted to do. So, yeah, I really like Conan the Barbarian as a comic book. I do find Conan to be such an interesting character. So glad he's in the public domain and back at Marvel.
And along those lines, I'll talk about my last book this week, which is Taskmaster number 4.
Ooh.
Where Taskmaster basically goes to Wakanda because he has to learn the kinesthetic signature of Okoye, which basically his idea is, okay, I'll get myself captured, and then I'll start ragging on the Dogs of War to essentially say, yeah, hey, Okoye, I see all your Dogs of War are like really, basically stormtroopers unable to do their gig. If you want, I could train them for you because I need sanctuary here in Wakanda because there's people trying to kill me. And basically what happens is they put him in a dungeon cell, they hold him for a while, they allow him to fight the Dogs of War, and then he just really beats the heck out of them because he's the Taskmaster and his name's on the book. So he does get that power upgrade that comes from having your name on the book. And, he eventually, after he defeats them, then he does fight Okoye. He gets her kinesthetic signature, but he wants to play it out just to see how far it can go. But he does allow himself to be taken back. But this time, they grant him the dignity of his skull mask, because they had previously taken his skull mask. So it's like, that's that. And then, of course, they negotiate his release to an American, and of course it is Nick Fury Jr. who sent him on the case in the first place. And we get that they're going back to the States, but Black Widow is waiting for them. So, it's good, but here's the big thing. Okay, ready for the big reveal? Next issue. Guess who's there? We decided to reveal in the teaser for the final issue. Do you recognize that person?
No, it's hard to see. Who is that?
Well, you can tell by his trademark wavy hair
and
the giant
Osborn.
hammer behind his face. Yes. Former director of Hammer, Norman Osborn, was the true villain all along, as if he were some kind of Agnes. Oh, well, that's my books. Anything you want to talk about before we go, Phil?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, Phil, I love talking to you, and I know you enjoy talking to me, because who wouldn't? But, sometimes people have a hard time hearing what we're saying, and that's because they're using substandard headsets, not high-quality tweaked audio headsets, which you can get over at tweakedaudio.com using this coupon code Southgate upon checkout, and get them at a pretty good discount. I'm just going to say, it's a pretty good discount. So do that, and then when you're done with that, if you want to take out the earbuds and actually live life without actually having to go outside, but just stimulate your brain, go over to hunterkiller.com, use that same coupon code Southgate at checkout, and get a discount on what is effectively an escape room delivered to your house. It's a bunch of clues and odd things that you get to piece together to figure out a 4-dimensional puzzle. Because really, that's what solving a mystery is. It's a 4-dimensional puzzle. It's not things you stick together, but things that you place in space and time to connect everything. And you can do that with Michelle Gray, who's solving a code case. That's the conceit. And that's over at hunterkiller.com, where you can use the coupon code Southgate. And if that does interest you, or even if it doesn't, you can go down to our show notes, click on the Amazon link, go to amazon.com, where you can buy anything you want. Costs you nothing, costs us nothing, but helps out the show somehow. But beyond that, there you can also check out Pod Life, the book written by Southgate Media Group podcasters, and that's enjoyable. It's available in both a hard copy to use after Society Falls and a digital copy, which you can use when you go to the beach and you don't want to take your precious hard copy from the vault. So that's that. And if anyone does any of that kind of stuff, Philip, or even if they don't, how can they reach out to you and tell you what is wrong with the show or what is right with the show?
You can always get a hold of me or anyone else at email us capesandlunatics@gmail.com or call the voicemail 614-382-2737. That's 614-38-CAPES. And find links to everything we do, social media, everything, YouTube channel at Linktree, linktr.ee/capesandlunatics.
And of course, you can always write to me in that old-fashioned email way the way our mothers and fathers once did. at superconnectivityblog@gmail.com. That's superconnectivityblog, all one word, at gmail.com. Of course, follow me on the Twitters. I live tweet the final episode of DuckTales. Woohoo. 7 o'clock on Monday, March 12th, 14th, at Charlie Esser. That's CharlieEsser. Look for the 2 E's in the middle.
For quality. Bing!
Thank you, Maz. All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for swinging by here with me and Phil and talking about superconnectivity. Please come back again next week where you can super connect with us again. Good night.
Good night. Man, listen to him. He's just drained, man. It takes a lot to put up with that Rob Southgate on a show before this.
Oh, I'm sorry if I'm...
No, that's fine. No,
it's
late.
Usually is. Well, you know.
We do this late on a Friday night.
Phillip.
Yeah, every Friday night we usually do this late. Yeah, but again, that Rob Southgate, man.
Yes. He's a delight, though. Check that out. You scroll up, or scroll down, or scroll to the left.
Capes and Lunatics 200.
Yes.